Chosen one, don't scroll past this message because you were not led here by accident. This is not random, and it is not just another video crossing your screen at the right second by chance. This is divine timing, and if your spirit has been feeling heavy, restless, unsettled, or quietly alert for reasons you could not explain, then hear this clearly. What you have been sensing is real. That pressure in your chest, that strange distance in the atmosphere around certain people, that inner warning you tried to dismiss because you wanted peace more than truth. It was not fear, and it was not imagination. It was discernment. Heaven has been trying to get your attention because something hidden has been moving behind your back. And the closer you are to your calling, the more serious this becomes. You have been praying, helping, showing up, covering others with kindness, giving your strength even when you were running on empty. But all the while, a truth was being buried beneath smiles, beneath family language, beneath familiar voices that pretended to love you while quietly resisting the light of God on your life. Chosen one, don't ignore this warning. There is a reason this message found you now. There is a reason your spirit has not been able to fully rest. There is a reason you have felt that someone close to you was not standing with you the way they claimed. What was whispered in secret is closer to exposure than you know. And before this message ends, you will understand why heaven had to stop you here first. Comment 777 right now and declare, God is exposing what was hidden, and I choose holy discernment. Let that declaration go before you into every unseen place where your name has been spoken without your knowledge. Subscribe before we go any further. Messages like this are released when the Spirit leads, not on a fixed schedule. If you miss even one, you may be walking the next season without the word heaven specifically prepared for you. Subscribe now and stay connected. You were the one who kept giving when everyone else stepped back. In your family, you became the helper, the listener, the one who calmed the storm, the one who stayed soft when others became cold. You carried people when they were breaking, covered them when they were weak, and kept showing up even when your own heart was tired. You were the one who tried to heal what was wounded, fix what was falling apart, and hold peace together when tension was rising in every corner. Again and again, you stepped in. Again and again, you made room. Again and again, you chose love. Even when you were running on empty, you still gave. When your spirit was tired, you still answered. When your own needs went unseen, you still made sure someone else was okay. That is what makes this message so deep, because your giving was never fake. You did not help to be applauded. You did not sacrifice to be admired. You helped because your heart was tender and God placed mercy inside you. There was something in you that could not ignore pain. There was something in you that kept responding when others would have turned away. But that same generosity created a dangerous pattern. People became used to your access. They became used to your energy, your time, your support, your wisdom, your presence. Some began to act as if your compassion belonged to them. They reached for you emotionally, financially, mentally, and spiritually, as though your life existed to keep their world from collapsing. The more available you were, the more normal it became for them to take from you without asking what it was costing you. You were no longer just loved. You were expected. You were no longer just appreciated. You were depended on in ways that slowly drained you. And that is the pain that cuts the deepest. It is not only that you became tired, it is that the very people you kept pouring into became the ones emptying you. The same hands you tried to strengthen kept reaching back into your life for more. The same people you covered rarely stopped to cover you. They knew how to receive your light, but not how to protect it. They knew how to lean on your strength, but not how to honor your heart. And while you were giving, something else was happening behind your back. They began rewriting your name. They did not say it to your face because truth is bold. But envy is usually quiet. So, they smiled in front of you, accepted your help, leaned on your strength, and then changed their tone the moment you were no longer in the room. Words were spoken that never should have been spoken about someone who carried so much for them. They called you selfish when you started pulling back. They called you controlling when you stopped letting chaos rule your peace. They called you dramatic when your spirit began reacting to what your eyes had not fully seen yet, what they could not control. They tried to mislabel what they could not understand. They tried to diminish. This is what hurts so deeply. You were not dealing with strangers. You were dealing with people close enough to know your heart, close enough to know your intentions, close enough to know how much you had already sacrificed. And still, they twisted your kindness into weakness, your loyalty into obsession, your silence into guilt. They took the very traits that made you a source of healing and turned them into accusations, not because those accusations were true, but because your light was beginning to expose what they wanted hidden. Some people feel uncomfortable around someone they cannot manipulate, and once they realize your spirit is waking up, they start building a false story to protect themselves. Some of them did not hate you for what you did. They reacted to who you are. There is something on your life that makes darkness uneasy. There is something in your presence that stirs conviction in people who have learned to live behind masks. That is why this was never just about personality conflict, misunderstanding, or family tension. Something deeper was moving underneath it. Archangel Michael does not arrive where there is only confusion. He steps in where concealment is ending and exposure is beginning. What your spirit has been sensing was not imaginary. It was the friction of truth pressing against deception. And the hardest part is that one voice may have influenced the others. One person may have been planting seeds, feeding suspicion, shaping how people saw you while pretending to stand beside you. That is why the atmosphere changed before you had proof. That is why some rooms started feeling heavy. That is why you could sense distance, tension, and something unclean moving under the surface. Your discernment was not betraying you. It was warning you because while you were trying to protect the bond, heaven was already seeing the fracture. And soon, you will understand why not every smile around you was ever sincere. Heaven heard what you could not hear. That is the part you must hold on to now, because there were conversations you were never meant to sit in, whispers you were never invited to hear, and moments that happened behind closed doors while you were still trying to love people with a pure heart. But none of it escaped the eyes of God. Not one word, not one twisted story, not one false smile. What was hidden from you was never hidden from heaven. And that is why your spirit has been reacting before your mind had facts. You were not overthinking. You were not becoming too sensitive. You were discerning something real before it took visible form. There were days you felt heavy for no clear reason, nights when your heart felt restless, even when everything looked normal on the outside. Moments when you walked into a room and sensed a shift, a strange pressure, a silence that did not feel peaceful but loaded. You tried to brush it off. You told yourself not to read too much into it. You wanted to believe the best. You wanted harmony more than confrontation. But deep inside, something kept nudging you, warning you, telling you that what looked familiar was no longer safe in the same way. That was not fear. That was discernment. God was allowing your spirit to feel what your eyes could not yet confirm. This is why you must stop calling yourself dramatic for feeling things early. Stop accusing yourself for noticing what others missed. Stop shrinking your spiritual sensitivity just because it makes people uncomfortable. What God placed in you was not meant to make your life easier in every moment. It was meant to keep you aligned, protected, and awake. The heaviness was not random. The emotional drain was not random. The unease around certain voices, certain phone calls, certain gatherings, certain conversations that seemed harmless on the surface but left your spirit tired afterward. None of it was random. Heaven was letting you sense the disturbance before the exposure arrived. Scripture confirms this with piercing clarity. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. Luke 8:17. That means what was covered will not stay covered. What was whispered will not remain buried. What was shaped in darkness will not escape the light forever. God is not asking you to force the unveiling. He is asking you to trust that truth has its own appointed hour, and when that hour comes, it will not need your striving to be powerful. So breathe for a moment and let this settle in your soul. Heaven has evidence. Heaven has witnessed it. Heaven has not misread your pain. Archangel Michael moves in places where hidden warfare is ending and divine clarity is beginning. What your spirit has been carrying is about to make sense, and the confirmation you have been waiting for is closer than you think. Comment, "I knew it in my spirit," right now if this word is meeting you exactly where you are. Your testimony is a weapon, and your agreement with truth is an act of warfare. This mission, the work of getting this word to the chosen ones who need it at exactly the right moment, exists because people who received something real chose to give something back. If something here has already found a place in you, consider supporting it through the link in the description. A coffee, a donation, whatever your spirit moves you toward. Every seed planted here becomes the next message that finds the next chosen one at the exact moment heaven scheduled for them. Stay with me. The exposure will not come the way you expected, and that is why you must stay spiritually alert. You may have imagined a dramatic confrontation, a loud confession, or some undeniable public moment where everything falls apart at once. But that is rarely how heaven works when truth is ready to surface. More often, it begins with something small, a sentence that slips out too easily, a message seen at the wrong time, a detail that does not line up, a conversation overheard when no one thought you were listening, a change in someone's face when your name comes up, one crack, one opening, one moment so brief it could be dismissed by anyone not paying attention, yet strong enough to confirm everything your spirit has been carrying. That is how this begins. Not with chaos first, but with revelation, and when it happens, it will hit deeper than you think, because the truth you have been sensing will finally move from feeling into fact. Part of you will hurt because confirmation has a way of cutting through the last layer of denial, but another part of you will breathe, maybe for the first time in a long time, because what once felt confusing will suddenly become clear. You will stop questioning your discernment. You will stop calling yourself too sensitive. You will stop trying to force yourself to trust what God has already been warning you about. Archangel Michael has a way of pulling masks off without needing your hands involved. He does not need your argument. He does not need your defense. He does not need you to chase the truth down in your own strength. When heaven decides the time has come, even the hidden will start betraying itself. The very people who thought they were careful will become careless. The ones who built false stories will contradict themselves. The ones who smiled while hiding envy will expose their own motives through pressure, guilt, and spiritual unrest. So, do not ignore the small signs when they come. Do not dismiss the sudden clarity. Do not talk yourself out of what God is letting you see. The confirmation you asked for may not arrive wrapped in comfort, but it will arrive wrapped in truth. Comment, "I choose peace over reaction right now," if you are truly ready for the truth, even when it comes through the person you trusted most. Let heaven hear that you are prepared to receive confirmation without letting it drive you into reaction. This is the part of the message where the instruction becomes unmistakable. Do not keep helping them in the same way. Do not return to the old pattern just because guilt knocks on your heart. Do not step back into the role that kept draining you simply because they know how to sound broken when they want access again. This is not God teaching you to hate. This is God teaching you to discern. There is a difference. A holy separation is not cruelty. Boundaries are not bitterness. And obedience does not always look like open hands. Sometimes obedience looks like a closed door, a quiet no, a step back, and the courage to stop rescuing people who only call you valuable when they need something from you. You must hear this deeply now, because this is where many people lose the breakthrough heaven prepared for them. They receive the exposure. They finally see the truth. They feel the sting of betrayal. And then, the moment the familiar voices return with excuses, apologies, or emotional pressure, they fall back into the same cycle. Not because they are weak, but because they are compassionate. Not because they do not know better, but because their heart still wants peace. But peace built on self-betrayal is not peace. It is bondage with a softer name. God is not asking you to keep proving your love to people who have already shown you that they can receive from you without honoring you. He is not asking you to bleed in the same place again just because the wound is familiar. For too long you were taught to confuse overgiving with righteousness. You were made to feel that saying no meant you were selfish. You were made to feel that if you pulled back, you were failing people. But heaven is correcting that lie now. You are not responsible for holding together what God is trying to separate. You are not called to finance, emotionally carry, spiritually cover, and constantly rescue those who refuse to respect what flows through your life. There are seasons where love gives, and there are seasons where love withdraws access. This is that season. Not because your heart has become hard, but because your spirit has become clear. Scripture says, "Do not cast your pearls before swine." Matthew 7-6. That is not harshness. That is wisdom. Pearls are precious. Pearls are costly. Pearls are formed through pain. And not everyone deserves unlimited access to what God produced in you through suffering. Your peace is a pearl. Your discernment is a pearl. Your time, your presence, your intercession, your support, your generosity, the oil on your life. All of it is precious. Heaven did not preserve you through so much just for you to keep scattering sacred things at the feet of people who mock them, misuse them, and come back only when they need to feed on what God gave you. Archangel Michael does not step into this moment to comfort your old patterns. He steps in to break them. He comes to tear down the guilt that kept you available beyond wisdom. He comes to silence the false obligation that whispered, "You have to keep helping, or you are not who God called you to be." God did call you to love, but not without discernment. God did call you to serve, but not at the cost of your peace. God did call you to carry light, but not to become a permanent source for people committed to staying in darkness. You are not here to be endlessly consumed. You are here to be aligned. So when they come back, and some of them will, do not let familiarity become permission. Do not let family titles override spiritual truth. Do not let tears manipulate you into reopening what heaven has closed. No more over-explaining, no more over-giving, no more bleeding for people who mock your wounds. Let this truth settle into your bones. Helping everyone is not holiness. Obedience is holiness. And in this season, obedience may look like stepping back so completely that heaven can finally move you into the freedom, protection, and acceleration that could never come while the wrong hands still had access to you. Send this to 3 people your spirit names right now. The chosen ones in your life who have been draining themselves for people who never honored what it cost them, who need permission to finally step back without guilt, who need to hear that holy separation is not cruelty, it is obedience. Send it now, not later, and then come back when they return. And some of them will. The greatest test will not be whether you recognize their voice, but whether you recognize that you are no longer the same person who used to answer it. They may come back sounding softer, looking humbled, speaking in a way that almost makes you question everything heaven just showed you. They may call it a misunderstanding. They may act wounded because you became distant. They may try to stir your compassion by reminding you of history, family, or everything you once shared. But this time, you must not move by emotion alone. This time, your silence must become your warfare. You do not need a dramatic confrontation. You do not need to explain every wound. You do not need to gather evidence, prove your case, or defend your heart to people who already had enough access to know better. There are moments when God is glorified, not by what you say, but by what you refuse to re-enter. Silence in this season is not weakness. It is wisdom with restraint. It is strength under command. Archangel Michael says this time, your silence is not passivity. It is strategy. Heaven is teaching you that not every battle is won through speaking, and not every lie must be answered by your mouth. Some lies collapse under the weight of truth all by themselves. Some people expose themselves more the moment you stop chasing understanding, and some doors only lose their power when you stop knocking on them emotionally. This is why you must resist the urge to explain yourself one more time. Resist the urge to clear your name in circles where your name was never safe. Resist the urge to rescue people from consequences God allowed to wake them up. Let heaven speak louder than your frustration. Let your peace say what your pain no longer needs to repeat. Because while they are waiting for your reaction, God is preparing your reversal. Comment, my silence is my warfare right now if you are ready to stop defending what heaven is already defending. That declaration is your spirit stepping into the strategy heaven has been waiting for you to walk in. This mission exists because chosen ones like you received something real and chose to give something back. If this word has already done something in your spirit, support it through the link in the description. A coffee, a donation, whatever you are moved to give. Every seed planted here becomes the next message that reaches the next chosen one at the exact moment heaven scheduled for them. What they meant for your breaking has become the very thing God is using for your acceleration. That is the reversal now unfolding over your life. They thought betrayal would weaken you, confuse you, delay you, and keep you emotionally trapped in a place where your energy would stay divided. But heaven never wasted your pain. While they were speaking against you, God was repositioning you. While they were trying to keep you small inside old family patterns, God was already preparing a larger room, a cleaner atmosphere, and a future that could not be entered carrying the same unclean attachments. This is why so much has been shifting at once. This is why certain relationships have felt unstable, why old dynamics have been collapsing, why what once felt familiar now feels heavy. It is not because your life is falling apart. It is because your life is being moved forward. Every insult became soil. Every disappointment became a severing. Every hidden conversation became one more reason. Heaven would not allow you to remain where you were only tolerated, used, or quietly resisted. The truth is, some of those people could celebrate you only as long as you stayed accessible, tired, and easy to reach. But the moment God began lifting your discernment, your boundaries, your confidence, and your spiritual authority, something in them became unsettled. They were comfortable with your sacrifice, but not your elevation. They were familiar with your giving, but not with the version of you that no longer bleeds to stay connected. And that is exactly why this season had to come. Now divine replacement begins to take shape. New doors, new alignment, new favor, new people who do not need you broken to feel comfortable around you. God is not merely removing the false, He is making room for the true. He is clearing space around your life so the right connections can find you, so peace can land fully, so your calling can breathe without constant interference. What was once draining you is losing access, and what is meant to strengthen you is moving closer. This is not a small shift. This is a spiritual relocation, so do not grieve every ending as if it were a loss. Some endings are proof that heaven refused to let your future be contaminated by what your past kept excusing. You are not being abandoned. You are being accelerated, and soon what felt painful in private will become visible in public, because God is about to show you what life looks like when betrayal no longer has the power to delay your becoming. What heaven is bringing you now is not vague, distant, or symbolic only. It is tangible. It is personal. It is the kind of restoration that touches the very places betrayal once bruised the deepest. The reward is not just that the truth will come out. The reward is that your life will begin to reflect what God was protecting all along. The same people who dismissed you, misunderstood you, or quietly spoke against you will not be able to deny what God is about to do. They will see the peace on you. They will see the doors opening around you. They will see the strength returning to your eyes, the clarity in your voice, the weight of favor resting on your life, and they will know something shifted that they could not stop. This is not about revenge. It is about vindication so undeniable that you no longer need to explain where you stood, what you carried, or why you had to step away. God is about to answer your pain with evidence. Emotional healing is part of this reward. Not shallow relief, not a temporary distraction, deep healing, the kind that quietens the inner trembling, the kind that lets you sleep without replaying every wound, the kind that breaks the habit of questioning your own discernment. Betrayal made you second-guess yourself. It made you wonder if you were too sensitive, too intense, too guarded, too much. But when heaven heals you, confusion loses its voice. You begin to trust what God showed you. You stop apologizing for boundaries that saved your spirit. You stop grieving access that was never holy. You stop craving validation from people who were committed to misunderstanding you. That is freedom. That is a reward. That is restoration, entering the deepest chambers of your heart and saying, you do not live in survival mode anymore. Financial restoration can also be part of this season, because some of what drained you was not only emotional, it cost you energy, time, opportunities, focus, and resources. You gave when you should have been building. You carried others when you should have been conserving strength for your own assignment. But God is not blind to what it cost you. He knows what you postponed. He knows what was delayed. He knows every seed you dropped into barren ground, hoping love would make it grow. And now heaven is shifting the ground beneath your feet. Opportunities will begin to align. Ideas will sharpen. Favor will open rooms where your name was never expected but already prepared for. What was blocked by constant draining will start flowing again. What was scattered will begin to gather. What felt delayed will begin to move with surprising speed. This is the hour where loss no longer has the final word. And there is more. New connections are part of your reward. Not everyone entering your next season will come with hidden motives. Not every relationship ahead will require you to shrink, overgive, or stay emotionally exhausted just to keep the peace. God is preparing people who can recognize the oil on your life without trying to exploit it. People who honor your heart instead of feeding on it. People who do not need your weakness to feel safe around your strength. This is why some circles had to break. This is why some voices had to fade. Heaven was not emptying your life to punish you. Heaven was making room for the right ones. The ones assigned to your future will not confuse your compassion with permission to consume you. They will know how to hold what God placed in you with reverence. Your peace will become visible. That is one of the greatest rewards of all. There is a kind of peace that does not come from circumstances being perfect, but from wrong access being removed. A peace that settles over your life because the constant leaking has stopped. A peace that feels unfamiliar at first because you spent so long carrying tension that calm almost feels suspicious. But this peace is real. It is holy. It is earned through obedience. And once it settles, you will realize how much noise you were living under. You will hear yourself think again. You will feel joy rise without guilt. You will breathe without bracing for the next betrayal. You will wake up and feel the atmosphere around your life changing. Lighter, cleaner, softer, clearer. That is not a coincidence. That is heaven restoring what chaos tried to steal. And yes, some of this vindication will become public. The same people who reduced your story will have to watch God expand it. The same mouths that spoke carelessly will have to sit in silence while your life speaks for itself. The same rooms where your name was mishandled will one day hear your name with respect. Not because you fought for applause, but because God defends His own in ways no human strategy can imitate. You will not need to announce your rise. It will be seen. You will not need to force honor. It will come. Make sure you have subscribed before we reach the final word. What comes next seals everything spoken today into your spirit permanently. Subscribe so that when heaven releases the next word, it finds you ready. You will not need to chase what belongs to your next season. Heaven will bring it with precision, and when it arrives, it will hit your spirit with holy emotion, because you will finally understand that the betrayal was never the end of your story. It was the painful doorway into a life with more peace, more clarity, more favor, more truth, more wholeness, and more of God than you have ever carried before. This is not the end of your kindness. It is the end of blind kindness. It is the end of pouring without discernment, rescuing without instruction, and calling it love when it was slowly teaching people they could keep taking from you without ever honoring what God placed inside you. You are not losing your heart in this season. You are gaining holy wisdom. You are learning that compassion without boundaries becomes captivity, and generosity without discernment becomes a doorway for misuse. That lesson is not here to harden you. It is here to consecrate you. You will still love, but you will not love at the expense of your peace. You will still help, but you will not help from guilt. You will still shine, but you will not burn yourself down just to keep others warm. That version of you is ending here. Archangel Michael says, "What is being born in you now is not distance for the sake of pride, but discernment for the sake of destiny." The betrayal did not destroy your calling. It exposed who could not go with you into the next season of it. And that is why you must stop grieving every separation as though it were a tragedy. Some separations are mercy, some endings are protection. Some closed doors are the very proof that heaven is finally answering prayers you cried in secret. You were never called to carry everyone. You were called to walk with God, to protect the oil on your life, and to move forward with clarity. So take this truth into your spirit and let it settle there. You are still loving, still chosen, still full of light, but now you are wiser. Now you are awake, and now you know that what fell away was never meant to hold your future. You did not arrive at this message by accident, and you will not leave it the same way you entered it. What has been revealed over your life is not punishment, but protection. Not rejection, but redirection. Not loss, but a holy separation, making room for what truly carries the hand of God. The betrayal hurt. Yes, but it also uncovered what could no longer go with you. It exposed the access that was draining you, the voices that were weakening you, and the patterns that heaven is now breaking for good. This is your confirmation that a different season has begun. A season of peace that does not have to beg to stay. A season of discernment that no longer apologizes for seeing clearly. A season of restoration where what was delayed begins to move, what was scattered begins to gather, and what was wounded begins to heal under the light of God. Archangel Michael says, "Let what exposed itself fall away, and let what heaven assigned find you." You do not need to chase what is truly yours. You do not need to force what God is aligning. You do not need to reopen what God closed. From this point forward, walk lighter, walk wiser, walk with the kind of quiet strength that comes from knowing heaven saw everything and still chose to lift you. The wrong hands are losing access. The right doors are opening. The old weight is breaking, and your next chapter will not be built on pain, confusion, and overgiving, but on peace, clarity, honor, and divine alignment. Hit the like button right now, not for the algorithm, as a declaration that you receive everything heaven has spoken over your life in this message. That single press is your spirit saying, "I accept this protection. I walk in this discernment. I step into this new season with holy wisdom." Comment 777 right now and declare, "I will not return to what God removed." Let those words become a wall that stands between you and every familiar pull that tried to keep you in the wrong season. Share this with someone who needs this confirmation today. The chosen one in your life who has been bleeding for people who never honored the cost, who needs permission to finally stop, who needs to hear that holy separation is not cruelty. It is God's mercy in motion. Send it to them now, and if this word has done something real in your spirit today, support this mission through the link in the description, subscribe, and stay connected to what heaven is releasing through this channel, because what heaven is doing in your life now is too important to ignore. You are loved, you are seen, and you are protected.